Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the developers in the current ecosystem. I've been speaking to a lot of developers and noticed a lot of trends as we move forward in this new day and age. Specifically, I want to address the discussion around how AI is replacing developers. Well, of course, I don't think it does. What AI does do, however, is it replaces what we find important, what matters, and what developers do day to day. So obviously you think of a software developer, and you're probably a software developer listening to this, you think of software development as writing code. And yes, that's exactly what the job is. However, there was a lot that went along with that. There was the day-to-day activities, understanding tickets, understanding scope, researching third parties, documentation, APIs, finding solutions to problems, searching through various forums and so on to find solutions, discussing with others solutions. Yet all of these things took time. And, to some extent, some of these activities still exist, but that took a lot of time. That wasn't writing code. None of that was writing code. Today, we have AI tools. Those AI tools are very good at solving those problems, finding the solution, the obscure reason something doesn't work and figuring that out. Understanding tickets. You don't need to be quite as cautious about how you write tickets because the models will understand your intent much better than a person might. They tend to assume things correctly or don't add their own thoughts or feelings in about it. It's probably more accurate. They don't have to be concerned about issues on merging and things like that some of us might have issues with. But what they don't do and what isn't replaced is what was the valuable part of the developer's job? What is that essence that isn't being replaced? And here's what I think it is. Developers are very good at understanding a client, what the client asks for, what is possible, what is not, distilling all of those various things that they might say, all of the hundreds and hundreds of lines of communication and emails and conference calls and so on, and distilling out of that an exact set of prioritized scope. That is a real skill. And then taking those lines of scope and turning that into a computer application. Now, we don't necessarily have to sit there and type out those lines of code anymore, but prompting, Codex or Claude is still a type of programming. Controversial to say, but it's true. That's still a type of computer program. In fact, since the earliest days, the effort from machine to assembly through the programming languages that we have today have been an effort to make those languages simpler to understand, more human readable and parsable. Being able to prompt to have your application written is just the next obvious evolution of that. So the developer's role is definitely changing, but it's changing not in the direction of removing decisions, removing architecture, removing your judgment. It's moving in the direction of removing the things that slowed you down, the things that you never were really that interested in the first place. I know I wasn't. These are the parts of the job I didn't like. So is the future no developers? No, absolutely not. In fact, as we move into the future, more and more businesses are finding custom software more and more accessible. That is, they're realizing that they can have a developer write that niche piece of software that used to cost them $100,000 or $200,000 before, can now be done a lot less expensively. And I won't quote prices because I don't know, but maybe that's $20,000 or $30,000 now, a quarter or less of the original price. And people are finding that they can get that custom piece of software done and they don't have to rely on the SaaS software that they had before that wasn't quite doing the job but was a decent compromise. No, they can get it done exactly as they want it. And so the demand for developers is actually increasing, not decreasing. Maybe there's a short-term pause on that as people figure it out or need to be convinced to jump on that. But the truth is we need more and more developers, and the number of lines of code increase at a rapid rate over the next 5 years, and someone's got to be writing that and securing that and pushing that to production and caring for that code and maintaining it and knowing what to prompt next and what to ask for next. And this is not the activity of just anyone. This is the activity of someone who knows what they're doing. This is the activity of someone who is a computer programmer, a software engineer. That is what's important. And that is the human part of what we're doing, you see. That is, that's the important part. So, yes, AI is going to help you write code faster, no doubt about it. But it can also help you to write wrong code faster as well if you don't understand all the considerations that are necessary in writing code. And you do. And so it is going to help you write good code faster. We're moving away from just writing syntax. We're moving away from being ourselves the machine that just outputs syntax. That's not who you are. You're a real person that can make decisions, architectural, planning, projects, all of those sorts of decisions. The aesthetic of, does this look good? Does this UI work? Yes or no? Computers are still really bad at trying to figure that out. The very best models on the planet are still lousy at UI and UX. You have to do that. Finally, it's this last question. The question is not, can AI write code? Yes, it can. The question is this: what code should be written? Should it be written at all? And that is going to be up to you.